Hello, Gunpla fans. This is Speedball and today for you guys. I have you an interesting review, guys, because today we are looking at the 144 no grade Build Strike Gundam. And yes, you heard me correctly. I didn't say entry grade, high grade, master grade, SD, or even perfect grade. Nope. This is a no grade Build Strike Gundam. And yes, it is the latest and newest Build Strike release after, well, quite a while. And yes, it is a very interesting build, my friends, because well, a lot of fans and fellow builders have asked me a number of questions about this model because a number of fans have wondered, is this no grade build strike on the scale of entry grades, especially with the current type of entry grades we have nowadays? I have to say, after personally experience and build of this, I have to say this is a very similar entry grade quality because it does have a lot of similarities with entry grades. I can tell that because I, well, reviewed and built that many entry grades. But it is very similar to integrates in a lot of ways, but however, I have to be fair and such. And well, it does have similar makings of an entry grade kit, but it does lack in certain places that, well, doesn't qualify it as an entry grade for say. One example I can give you, my friends, is that as we all know, current entry grades are known for, of course, their flaws, yes, but they're also known for a lot of color separation and other such detailing with their runners and such, which a lot of like high grades and such of their original releases, didn't have, of like certain small parts and other such details that would normally have to be painted on and such. But for an entry grade, they're pretty much almost all color separate parts, minus like some small details. Well, unfortunately though, friends, that's where this kit is not like that. It does have the same color separation that we see with entry grades, yes, but it also lacks in certain spots that I honestly think could have been a color separate part. For example, as you can see here, which I will show you with its beam saber, is up here on the shoulder armor right here, this yellow piece you see. Note, I did all the detailing on this kit before the review, so you guys, I will point out where such detailing will be needed because yes, for this specific build, you will need to do a little extra detailing to give it the accurate look. Like here on the shoulder armor, this yellow section, as I just mentioned, that needs to be painted because it's molded in white. Another section is over here under the shoulder armor right there, this gray section, which, yeah, that's just all molded in red. Other such sections would be, let's say, move his arm, is the red you see here. Nothing too much for the legs, surprisingly, because I'm used to like coloring these small like gray sections on such kits and, well, strikes, but not in this case. No, those are actually separate. That surprised me. But sections like the blue you see here, that needs to be painted. Same with this piece here. Let's see. And as to the back, yeah, you definitely need to do a little work with the back section. These small verniers back here, and another section of verniers, which honestly I'm not too surprised because I've seen it that many times with C kits and like later UC stuff. Here with these verniers here, and surprising enough, this was one section I would have expected to be a separate piece, or at least molded in the front part. But this gray section you guys see right here on the back, no, that's molded to the back part here instead of as a separate piece. So, yeah, that definitely surprised me a bit because as you can see, like here and such, all those gray parts are just separate parts. So it's a little surprising this didn't get a separate piece. And then just some minor detailing like here on the bottom of the feet, which is not too uncommon, but it is that. And same with these blue pieces you see here on the arms. And lastly, you would see is right over here on the head, like this white section here. Yeah, that's, and of course eyes. Now, technically, you don't have to do the eyes because yes, they are molded in the same way a lot of entry grades have that small section in the head that would, of course, have the eyes and cameras covered. But for color accuracy, however, you're definitely going to want to paint because the part is molded in blue, but the build strike is, green for the eyes, and same with the back cameras here. So yeah, you would need to do that, and smaller details like the Vulcans and such like that also need to be detailed. So yes, as you can see, guys, and as I've mentioned, there is a bit of work you got to do if you want to give it that anime accuracy, which, it's not really too hard to do. It's just, small detailing that's got to be done. But, like I said, for entry grades, they may not be perfect, but their color separation is a little bit better. And yeah, this one is not as that good. So that's why I can't say it's on the same level as an entry grade. It has the same qualities as an entry grade, but not, it's just not there yet. And let's go into further detail on that because it's not just the color separation either. For another example, articulation. Yes, like I've been mentioning, entry grades definitely are not perfect and have their flaws, but they do have decent articulation, minus certain flaws we all know about. But this strike, however, Well, where normal entry grades, articulations, how far they go. Well, this strike, however, actually lacks in articulation. Yeah. For example, the arms here is fully posable. You can bend the arm, as you can see, as far as this goes here. However, there's no swivel here by the shoulder armor, so you can't turn the arm in certain directions. And the hand, which is a big surprise in this kid's case, is molded in gray to match the armor and such, which is nice. However, the hands themselves are actually molded to the joint here in the wrist. So you can't turn the hand, period. It's not even on a ball joint or a peg. It's just one piece right there and such. So you get one pose with it. So I'm sorry about that. And as for like the shoulder section, you got a decent amount of articulation because it's on a ball joint. So you do get some good playability there, but there's no like extra joints or anything. So pretty much, as you guys can see, that's as far as it's going to go up there. And as you saw, full 360. So that's one good thing. But like I said, you can't turn the arm in any other direction outside of what I showed you here in the hand. And as for other articulated points, the head is on a ball joint, so it can go full 360 with no problem, up and down if you want. Though the ball joint does feel a little loose to me. Is see, yeah. I mean, it's not a huge deal. It just feels a little loose. And as for like here, you can go full 360 with no problem, but there is no bend really for for the abs outside of the ball joint that's in there. So if you're wondering, as for the legs, they can go pretty much all the way out that far, out well to this far because of the back armor, and the leg can go about that far, no problem there. And it's got a ball jointed foot, so you do got some good poses there with the legs. Though there is something with the legs that's a little off to me. Is here by the knee. I'll try to get it in. If you can see here, as you guys can see, the way the leg is designed, it's actually not fully straight. No, it's actually got a small bend to it. So it looks like the leg's like in a pose already, because you can't bend the leg all the way back to the leg up here as much. So it's in a fixed pose to a certain degree. But it's not a huge deal. You can still play with it and such. And it's got a ball jointed hip section here, so you can pull that off as many poses as you want with it. But like I said, there are limitations. I mean, yes, EGs have their limitations in their waist sections as well, of course, but I can definitely tell the difference between this one's and a regular entry grade. So, yeah. And speaking of entry grades, another question or has popped up, or at least a number of opinions have been mentioned about this version is why didn't Bandai just retool like the Build Strike Exceed or the just the regular Strike entry grades since we have two Strike entry grades already, and the build version for I would say would have probably been their best starting point maybe to a standard Build Strike entry grade, but yeah, no, we didn't get that. No. Oh, that was a surprise a lot of fans were wondering about, is that. Oh, and, sorry, I almost forgot this detail. One other part, as well as you guys can see on the skirt armor, is the beam saber handles. If you're wondering, yes, these are, molded on. Sorry, I almost forgot that part. And, such like that. But no, like I was mentioning, guys, it was an interesting surprise when this kit was announced because many of you may not know this actually, is the reason they announced this specific kit was because of the new China reissue slash redub of the original Build Fighters anime and Gunpla releases. So Bandai decided to, of course, announce everything, including new box arts for all the original Gunpla units that they're releasing, which is really cool. And minus like no major new stuff, but to collect, to announce everything, they of course is when this kit was announced to go with everything. And if you're wondering real quick, yes, this is not a worldwide release yet. I don't know specifically. No one really knows, honestly. So far, it is a China exclusive release to go along with the new releases I just mentioned. So yeah, but I can't say like if it will stay that way because I mean, it's not like an exclusive kind of kit. So there's always that chance Bandai will announce like another release for this mold at a point or later on maybe a worldwide release. I'm not really sure. It's just for right now it's just a region exclusive, so it might change, just depends. It's just yeah. But it's not a bad kit, guys, honestly. Even with its limitations and such, I didn't really have any problems with this kit. And it was fun actually detailing some of the kit's details because I wanted to give this kit as much of the anime accuracy as I could. And honestly, one of the tips I can give you guys for this for detailing is the eye section. It actually turned out a lot better than I was expecting. Because normally I would use like a metallic color or something, but I decided to go with just a regular green color to give it that anime color look, and it turned out better than I expected. I'll try to get it in the camera so you guys can see it if I can. course, my camera doesn't want to get there we go. You guys can see. I wanted to give it that accurate look as best as I could, and it turned out, like I said, better than I expected. And a small tip is if you're going to paint the eye section, I definitely recommend you paint the molded piece on the inside black, or at least around the eye section, because if you don't, you're going to have a blue, back piece behind the eye. So I definitely would recommend doing that for sure. And honestly, I just use little panel lines for the verniers right there in the front, and the Vulcan cans in gray and such like that. So it was easy to paint up in detail. It's just you do need a little extra work to give this kit that accuracy look. Now, outside of that, do you get anything else with this kit? Because of course we're talking about the Build Strike. No, if you're wondering if it comes with any of the additional accessories that the Build Strike would normally come with, no. As you can see already here on the arm, it has its natural and standard rifle piece, which just slides into the hand like such. And it's a well, it's a very thin rifle, honestly. If you guys can see that, it just looks very thin, but it just slides into the hand with no problem. And I've had no problems with it staying in there and such. And other than that, it's as for standard pieces you get with it is a standard beam saber. But for many fans who will know no grades pretty well, will know is that this is not, of course, a separate piece or clear piece. This is the classic beam chopstick. So yes, I did have to paint this as well as best I could, and as you can see, though the one thing that did not make sense with this piece, honestly, was why did they print this part in the red runners? Yes, this was printed with the red pieces, which I don't get that. Like, Bandai could have easily have printed this with the white parts, just to make it easier for the handle instead of having to paint the whole thing. But no, yeah. Well, yeah, it's that. And of course, this slides right into the hand. Though I won't lie, guys, it is a bit tough. It's like it gets wedged into the hand and it gets stuck. I've had that now a couple times with this, and honestly, I don't want to put it back in because after repainting this piece here, I don't want to have to scrape any more paint off it. Even after putting primer and all that stuff on it, I don't want to scratch any of the paint or anything like that, or just having it get stuck in there. I just don't. But it is cool to have it painted up, though. I do like that. But outside of that, you don't get any other accessories, so it doesn't come with the boosters nor the shield parts or anything like that. Sorry, guys. However, I do have good news for you guys because, as you guys saw my unboxing of the Build Strike here, I actually did a double unboxing for you guys with a special piece I picked up, which was the High Grade Build Fighters Universe Booster Unit. Now, of course, as you can all tell, something is off with this one because, yes, this is not the standard version. No, this is the special version, the Universe Booster Red. For those who don't know what that even means in this case, this was a special recolor exclusive World Fair 2015 release of the standard Universe Booster unit in this special red recolor. And the reason for that is because they released this as an exclusive to go along with the release of the Build Fighters Try anime and such like that. So they recolored it mainly to match up with the Build Burning, as you can see in this picture here. And it's a fun little book you can see here because it shows off scenes and characters from the anime, as you guys can see. And it's a fun little tip booklet. It just tells you how to start your build and other such silly things like that, but fun tips in it nonetheless, as you guys can see. Hope I can get them all on camera and such. It even shows you how to, of course, assemble the booster and even put on the decals that it would come with and such, which for me, I didn't. I painted it, of course. And, of course, the manual itself, as you guys can see. Though, note, this specific booster is different to the retail version, not just because of the color, of course, but it actually does not come with all the accessories the standard version comes with. So it doesn't come with any of the leg armor for the Build Strike, nor does it come with the any of the other pieces this unit would come with normally. But it's honestly okay in this case because I picked this up a while ago, well, a little while ago, when I got lucky and found it online. Because understand, friends, this is one of those kind of exclusives. Once it's gone, it's gone. Especially for a 10-year-old exclusive, I got lucky. And when this Build Strike was announced, I figured this would be the best time to build this kit. I mean, it was surprise, but it was a perfect timing, I'd say. And yes, if you are wondering because of the Build Strike here, can you adapt any of the booster units to it? Well, I have good news because once I take it off its stand and remove a few pieces real quick, as you guys can see real quick, the booster itself. I really do like the color scheme and, of course, the painting I did with it, but the colors really look cool for a red variant. Well, yes, as to can you adapt this onto the Build Strike itself? Yes, you can. By, of course, just simply transforming our booster unit here. Now, of course, I gotta remove the head, but you do that. And there you have it, friends. You can now make the No Great Star Build Strike. I mean, this was honestly fun. I'm glad to have this booster unit on this because I just think it's just a fun matchup. And the detailing on both kits look great together, I admit that. I really like it. And yes, of course, you can attach all the same effect pieces on here as you would with the high grade or any of the other grade versions. But you just gotta fiddle with the positioning of some pieces. See. And the fun piece with the universal booster is that all these little orange parts you see there that would normally detach to make effect pieces like that on the original high grade and such, you can detach and attach it onto the stand piece like you see with those pieces there, which are where these big effect pieces now would be detached of. And as you can see, you can have all the effects on the Build Strike as you wish. The only bummer part is that, like I mentioned, this version does not come with all the parts to mimic all the effects, so you can't, activate the wings, or you can't take these big pieces and surround the gun piece, which I almost forgot to show you guys, is that this version of the booster does still come with the original's Build Strike's weapon piece, as you can see here, and it does have the connector piece that would attach onto the shield, but like I mentioned, you don't have the shield, though. You do get the adapter. And if you are wondering, can you use the gun to answer your question, yes, you can use the Build Strike the Star Build Strike's full gun with this version. Though only in certain poses, of course, but you can now use it, and you can attach it, of course, to the stand that the booster unit comes with, like you see here. And there you go. You got the full Star Build Strike. Now, yes, missing a few things, but yeah. But you can now fully display the no grade in any of the booster units you wish to attach to it, as you see here. So yes, this was a fun build, guys. An interesting build too. And a good reminder of no grades, because remember, friends, we've had that many generations of no grades all the way from the early releases, all the way through the 90s, all the way, well, to now. So it is nice to see a no grade pop up. It's just very interesting to have seen a Build Strike version. Now, do I foresee any other versions or anything popping up? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is just a one-time deal. I mean, unless Bandai reuses the mold here for another special release, like if they did like a booster combo release or something later on, I don't know, maybe. But I'm not betting on it. I mean, if they did like a paint version, like we get with GBASE entry grade stuff, I guess I could see that. But like, I'm not betting on it that much. Now, if you're curious real quick how this kit will look with other fellow entry grades and such, well, I have for you my entry grade new Gundam FF version, of course, or the statue version, so you guys can see how an actual entry grade looks compared to this Build Strike. Of course, I have my original RX entry grade, so you guys can see the difference between it. And for fun, I decided to pull out another fellow, well, this one technically doesn't actually have official grade, but it is a fellow 144 unit, the RX F00, as you guys can see. And yes, this, if you're wondering, yes, this kit took a lot of time to detail. I won't lie to you. It's one of literally my most detailed RXs I have so far. And since we're talking about build series, of course, in this case fighters, why not my high grade Gaian Vulcan? And note, this is not the Revive HD version. No, this is the original HD version with the Gaian Vulcan parts, and is one of my oldest build fighter units I have. But it is nice to have this with the Build Strike here. It's just got that fun feeling to it. So yeah. So outside of everything I've shown you guys and such, my final thoughts on the build unit here and such. Um, do I recommend the no grade Build Strike? Yeah. I don't see why not. I mean, it is a region exclusive, so it can be a bit tricky to get, but honestly, I didn't have any trouble getting mine, really. It was I just went on a normal website that normally sells, from the China market and such, like AliExpress and so forth, and, yeah, I found this one for, like, I think it was, like, about 12, 15 bucks. Wasn't even that bad, minus, like, shipping and such, but that wasn't even that bad. The point is, it wasn't hard to get, so if you are interested in it, I could say, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it is a new Build Fighters unit, a new Build Strike, of course, and it's not a bad kit, even being a no grade. I mean, I started with no grades when I first began Gunpla, so I don't have anything against them. In certain ones, I'll always love just because. And yeah, this is a not a bad kit, and like I said, it's not. It has a lot of fun potential too, because for like beginners, those who want to learn how to paint, those who want to master detailing and such like that, I think this would be a good build for mini fans, or if you're just a Build Fighters fan in general, I think this would be a good kit to start with. I mean, it's not a bad thing, and like I said, it doesn't cost a lot. And like I said, good detailing experience as well. So honestly, it's not a bad build all the way around, even for its limitations and such. So yes, that is it for today, my friends. I thank you always for coming. I do hope you're enjoying your hobbies, and I hope, as well, many Build Fighters fans will know this. I hope that you're building your Gunpla with as much freedom as possible. Because remember, friends, Gunpla is freedom. Okay, see you all next time.